Welcome to Star Trek Jeopardy, presented by the Keeping Up with the Cardassians podcast. I'm your host, Bill. I'm back again this month. I'm glad to see you all back. So since you're here, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And while you're doing that, make sure to put a comment in there. Leave us some question ideas or category ideas if you have any. We love that kind of stuff. Rob can't do all this by himself. We need your help. I'm lazy. I'm not going to do it. Help Rob out. Speaking of coming back, we're happy to welcome back a returning sponsor for this episode, Geoguessor. So be sure to check them out. Their link is right down here. They have an awesome product. Okay, let's get started. You know how Jeopardy works. We give you the answer, and whether or not you phrase your response in the form of a question or not, it's totally up to you. Trust me, the only people who care are the people who care. We're not keeping track. We're not going to have any problems if you don't. It's all for fun. So let's go ahead and get started with our categories. And our first category is a return category from last time. That's going to be Geoguessor. That was our final Jeopardy category last time, and it's our first category now. Next, we have character initials. Then we're going to have the directors, and that's going to be who directed certain episodes of the TV series or certain Star Trek movies. Following that, we're going to have one-hit wonders, and we can't go anywhere without our warp drive. And finally, we're going to have Crushin It, which is the result of an Instagram poll where we asked which Star Trek character would you most like to see as a category, and you chose everyone's favorite Chief Medical Officer of the Enterprise D. That is Beverly Crusher. So let's get started. Geoguessor for $200. What is this place? If you said Kronos, you were correct. I always thought it was weird that it's pronounced Kronos. There's clearly not an R in there. Maybe that's what that accent aigu or the comma or whatever that is supposed to represent an R in the Klingon language. Now we're going to do character initials for $200. JTK. Who in the world is that? Of course, that's James Tiberius Kirk. Everyone knew that one. We got to start you off with something easy. Trust me, they get a little harder than that. Now for the directors for $200. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, aka the one with the whales. That was, of course, Mr. Leonard Nimoy.
It's just very hard to do both jobs. Very tiring physically, too, because, particularly with the Spock character, because on days when I'd be in full makeup, it takes a couple hours to do that makeup. So you're doing putting in the full day as a director as well as the acting work and the makeup time. It's a long day.
Hello, Clay. You camera bucket?
Now, one-hit wonders for $200. This character was created as a result of a transporter accident when Lieutenant Tuvok and Neelix were merged into one. The answer to that is Tuvix, and I truly do hope that there was at least an inquiry about the war crime that Captain Janeway committed when she killed Tuvix.
Hey, Mr. Tuvix.
No.
I'm ordering you to come with me.
Let's go into warp drive for $200. A semi-rare element and a critical component of warp drive technology. If you said dilithium crystals, you are correct. Finally, Crushin It for $200. The road Dr. Crusher took when she left the Enterprise for a year. And that was as the head of Starfleet Medical. That's when we saw everyone's second favorite Chief Medical Officer of the Enterprise D, Dr. Pulaski. Now let's go to the $400 round. The questions get a little bit harder, but I think you guys got this. Geoguessor, $400. That is Earth, San Francisco, Starfleet Academy. Character initials for $400. Who is WTR? That is William Thomas Riker. Now, of course, I knew that, but for a second there, I looked at that and said, water? Maybe I'm just thirsty. The directors for 400, who directed Yesterday's Enterprise, Emissary from DS9, and Star Trek Generations. Of course, that would be David Carson, no relation to Johnny. One-hit wonders for 400. He sacrificed himself to bridge the communication gap by transporting himself and the captain to a planet to face a common threat. That is Dathan from the episode Darmok, played by the wonderful Paul Winfield.
He who was my companion through adventure and hardship is gone forever.
Warp drive for $400. The outboard housing structure that contains the warp coils and other components that together makes a starship warp engine. If you said anything other than nacelles, you're wrong. If you said nacelles, amen. Crushin It for 400. The name of the son that Crusher and Picard conceived together, much to the surprise of Picard. That's Jack. And if you saw the episode of the podcast we recorded just before this, which this is a few weeks later, you know the weird conversation we had about that name Jack. And I'm still having flashbacks. Now let's go to the 600 category. And we're going to start once again with Geoguessor. Where incarnation is this? If you said Wolf 359, you're correct. And it was maybe about 5 years after this episode came out that I discovered that Wolf 359 is a real place. It's a star somewhere out in space somewhere. But yeah, when we get warp drive, you can go there. Character initials for 600. Who is MEO? That's not an abbreviation for meow. That's Miles Edward O'Brien. If there was such thing as an Irish name, that is it. That is the most Irish name that is ever Irished. The directors for 600. The Offspring, Those Old Scientists, 300 Nights. That's everyone's favorite Star Trek director, Jonathan Frakes. One-hit wonders for 600. Yes, they are the Hail Her Whales. And her, of course, is Dr. Gillian Taylor from Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
They like you very much, but they are not the hell your whales.
Warp drive for 600. This is a type of subspace deformation that envelops a vessel, allowing it to travel faster than light. And that is a warp bubble. I like also how they just came up with this technology and decided, you know what, this will not only allow us to travel faster than light, but it also gets rid of all of that nasty relativity nonsense. And the last category in the $600 round, Crushin It. The nickname she was issued after winning multiple awards at dance competitions. A couple of fun facts about Gates McFadden. Number one, her actual name is Cheryl Gates McFadden, and she's actually an accomplished choreographer. And she's choreographed dance scenes in many movies, including a big dance scene in Labyrinth. And when she's working as a choreographer, she goes by her given first name, which is Cheryl. But when she's acting, she goes by her middle name, Gates. Now we're on to the $800 round, Geoguessor for 800. What is this place? That is the planet Ocampa from Star Trek Voyager. Character initials for 800, BLS. If you were paying attention in the last Star Trek Jeopardy, actually I gave you this one. This is Benjamin Lafayette Sisko. The directors for 800. Who directed The Visitor, Scorpion, and Equinox? If you didn't know it was David Livingston, don't feel bad. I would have never gotten that one in 1,000 years. One-hit wonders for 800. He is a filing clerk who pretended to be a war criminal in an effort to force his people to acknowledge the atrocities his people did during the Bajoran occupation. This one I did know, I just couldn't remember his name. It's Amin Maritza. I'm sure I mispronounced that. I even watched that episode last night to get the pronunciation. Still screwed it up.
My plan was to do nothing less than kill every Bajoran in the camp. And to this day, my one regret is that I was not able to accomplish this honorable goal.
You're Maritza, aren't you?
You mistake me for that bug.
Warp drive for 800. Chief O'Brien was injured while attempting to reroute this when a plasma conduit blew. You've also heard this as a technological component of the transporter and communication systems. That's a phase inducer. Finally, for the 800 round, Crushing It. The name of the book her husband Jack used to propose to her. What is How to Advance Your Career Through Marriage? Oh, he was such a romantic. Finally, let's do the $1,000 round. These are harder, so make sure you got your positronic brain queued up. Geoguessor for 1,000. Where in the galaxy is this? Now see, I didn't know this was Trill either when I first saw it, but then after I saw the answer, I said, oh yeah, I remember that episode, that's Trill. Character initials for 1,000. Does anybody know who JSB is? If you said Julian Sabatoy Bashir, you're correct. If you actually know how to pronounce that, let me know because I want to know. The directors for 1,000. Pegasus, Bar Association, Terra Nova. Mr. Joy LaForge himself, LeVar Burton. Terra Nova was, I think, one of the better episodes of the first season of Enterprise. And I loved all 4 seasons of Enterprise. I even loved the theme song for the first 2 seasons. Season number 3, they remixed it. And after that, we're like, skip! One-hit wonders for 1,000. He was the inventor of the Comtronic and Duotronic computer systems. And that was Richard Daystrom, namesake of the Daystrom Institute. Warp drive for 1,000. This is a major component of a starship's warp core where its functions include the maintenance and regulation of plasma pressure within the core. That is the intermix chamber. And finally, Crushin It for 1,000. Beverly and her grandmother Felissa lived here on this colony planet until the moon caused the planet to flood. What is Arvada 3? Bye, Felissa. Now it's time for Final Jeopardy, when you can bet any or all of the points you've accumulated. So take a look at your score if you're keeping score, because if you're like me, you don't. Consider how much you want to bet and lock your wager in right now. And that wager is going to go toward the Final Jeopardy category of It's All Relative. And this category is going to be about relatives of Star Trek characters. And as you know, our Final Jeopardy category for this episode is going to be a category in the next episode. And now the clue. He was the grandfather of Ensign Hoshi Sato. Mikio Sato. And any errors in pronunciation, blame it on me. Don't blame it on Rob. That's all Bill. Well, I hope you had fun. We hope to see you back in next month when we'll do Star Trek Jeopardy again. Once again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please give us ideas for categories or questions in the comments. Until next time, this will always be Bill. See you later. He was the grandfather of Ensign Hoshi. Damn it! Hoshi. Here's the thing. I had a crush on Hoshi. I know how to say her name.
Oh, yeah.
I want to remind people to like, subscribe, and share, right?
Yeah. A second level for us on the ground.
When I win the lottery.
Right. I thought it was nice.
So I'm hoping that since I've committed to that, then God is going to see fit to say, okay, here's the lottery for you. And so, you know what? I'll keep that promise. I never know what to do with my hands. I like these lights presented by the Keeping Up with the Kardashians podcast. I'm your host, Bill. I said Kardashian.
You did?
Yeah, I need to stop. Hello. We should do a gag reel. That would be awesome.
I can do that.
We should do a gag reel and put it on the Patreon.
Absolutely.
Trust me, I will screw up enough organically. I don't have to fake it. Right. So you can pick it up after I said awesome product. That's everyone's favorite Star Trek director, Jonathan Frakes. If we had a chair, I'd have did the Riker maneuver.
Nice day today.
It's not too bad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. I want the $5 back.